Hey guys, this is James.
And this is Denny from TeaDB, bringing you guys episode 73.
Yep.
And so today we have another raw pu'erh. James will talk to this one because he ordered this one from the eBay of China, apparently.
Taobao.
So, but I'm going to go ahead and start brewing while James speaks to this too.
Yep. So this is, so Taobao is basically kind of like the Chinese eBay. And so the main issue with that is you're going to get really good, well, not necessarily good, you're going to get, it's just a huge marketplace of lots of Chinese goods, tea included, of course. And so the issue is that it pretty much only ships to inter-China. So that means you have to go through an agency. So in this case, I went through this agency called Cheap Agency, which basically, the aptly titled Cheap Agency, which you basically tell them what you want to buy, then the goods get shipped to them, and then they ship it internationally. So you end up paying Cheap Agency a percentage, which is 6%, which is pretty good actually in my experience. And then they have the shipped to them, and then you pay them another fee, which is basically the international shipping fee to get it sent to you. So that sounds like pretty complicated and like a lot of fees and stuff, but this tea sells for $30 on Taobao, and so once you get it shipped over to the US and stuff, you end up paying about $50. But this tea will sell for $150 at stateside, basically. So at the Canadian tea shop, Chinese tea shop, this sells for $150. So even if you end up spending a lot of money just to get the tea here, it's a lot cheaper than using the Western marketplace.
Okay, so now that that's all done, this is looking like it's a ripe pu'erh, even though it's a raw. It smells like a rainforest. I was out backpacking last weekend. That's exactly what it smells like. And it is totally aromatic. So
yeah, I can smell it.
Try this.
So how many rinses have we given this guy so far?
That was 2 rinses. And then we'll go ahead and give this a shot. James was saying that this tea can be a little bit inconsistent in terms of the earlier brews, so we'll see how it goes. But I want to give this a smell.
Yep. So this tea has undergone what you would call wet storage at some point in its life. And like Denny was saying, this tea is from 2000, so it's about 14 years old, which makes it quite a bit younger than the tea we brewed last episode. But it smells far more mature.
Goodness. I get like graphite pencil shavings, and let me get back in there. This is interesting. Some like hints of that the sweeter dark fruits that you would get from a ripe pu'erh. Maybe a little bit of vanilla. Really big leaves. Actually really nice quality, looks like.
A little bit of that. I don't want to quite call it the burnt taste or burnt smell, but a little bit of that. However you would describe that in pu'erh.
Sure.
Which
Charcoal, maybe?
Which I've seen kind of in some of the wetter raw pu'erhs I've had. So it smells wet.
Absolutely. Yeah, it smells kind of like a dank basement meets a rainforest meets some pencil shavings. But I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. Aren't you guys?
And just in terms of the liqueur, it would be hard to imagine this being a raw pu'erh just from how dark the initial steeping.
Or at least a young raw pu'erh.
Definitely. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
So still surprisingly light, actually, given how
it's quite smooth.
It is. Yeah, I'm not noticing the boldness that you're talking about.
So I'm getting a little bit of that nastiness of the storage. Not that much. This is still quite drinkable, but there is some of it. So I've had to give this tea occasionally 3 or 4 rinses just to get kind of past that, just because it has undergone some serious storage.
Right, like 25% of the way through what I would call the evolution of the taste, I get this hint, this like just fragment of ripe pu'erh sweetness.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that will continue to come out the more that we steep this tea.
And it doesn't It tastes like pencil shavings or the rainforest. It tastes like a ripe pu'erh, frankly.
Yeah, it's sweet, it's smooth, pretty easy to drink. I mean, I find ripe pu'erh and teas like this, it's pretty easy to just keep on going, cup
Absolutely.
after cup after cup. Very easy on the stomach.
Absolutely, yeah. This is quite lovely. How did you hear about this tea, James?
So this tea was actually covered by a couple of bloggers a few years ago. And they were saying that this was a good buy from Taobao. And so I kind of had figured that, the window had come and gone, but sure enough, the vendor was still selling these at $30 a pop. So, so it just kind of shows you that there are some. So, I think this one might even be better. I would expect less of that storage to come out just because we're one more steep along. And one thing you can do to kind of like air these teas out that have undergone more heavy storage is to just break it up and then store it with a little bit of air. It doesn't have to be totally airtight, which is what I've kind of been doing. I've been breaking off little pieces, storing them in a little tea caddy that's not totally airtight, and then it just gives it a little bit more air and a chance to get rid of some of those nasty off taste.
Yeah, and dry out a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, well, cheers.
Cheers.
Really intense aroma. Yeah.
So that sweetness that you were describing, that bright pu'erh like sweetness, is definitely more developed in this steep.
Yeah, I think that it's rounded out significantly. There was sort of a little spike of a sweet hint early on in that first steeping. It's much bolder now. It's much fuller in that flavor profile has really become more of a wave that sort of builds and then slows down. Yeah, really pleasant. This is one of those things where if you put this in front of me and I didn't know what it was, I would immediately think this is a ripe pu'erh. And it does have a little bit of that funkiness to it. It's not bad, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to serve this having steeped it out 3 times and then serving it, including a couple of rinses, versus just starting it fresh for folks and to see their impressions. I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, I suspect it will improve. And I just got a whiff of the tea, and I understand the pencil shavings now, which is odd enough that we could agree on something as strange as that.
Yeah,
specifically, yeah. It's taking me back
being a little kid.
To grade school, getting picked on and stuff for my tea habits, and it's terrible.
Were you a tea nerd back in grade school? I don't know.
No, I wasn't.
No, just a normal nerd.
Yeah, just Magic the Gathering and all those fun games.
Well, and the tea leaves have really expanded now. What were we doing for ratios here?
This is about 7 grams for, I think, 100 milliliters.
Yeah,
so.
it's like...
And like ripe pu'erh, this should be pretty forgiving in how you brew it. Like,
definitely.
If you forget it for 5 or 10 seconds, no big deal. Just steep the tea.
Yeah, and absolutely, there's no hint of astringency or anything like that. So, yeah, this is really actually pleasant. Very, very unique.
Yeah.
Just distinct.
And this is sadly a good example of something that's hard to find at the Western market for a reasonable price. Just because, this is $30 in China, which is really, really quite reasonable for a raw pu'erh with any sort of age. And in America, we don't have these sorts of options. So it encourages you to kind of check out Taobao and the things that might be available.
Stick your nose in there. It's much sweeter.
Yeah. It smells nicer now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's much nicer. Less of those off flavors. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. So I'd say, at this point, there's almost none of that funkiness left. It's just kind of a nice, straightforward. I don't think this tea is super complex or anything like that. But it'd be interesting to taste this side by side to a ripe pu'erh, kind of like you were saying, just to kind of contrast what it would or would not taste like.
Absolutely. Great overall tea. One of the more distinct raws that I've encountered. So James, if folks want to learn more about buying budget teas, prices per ounce, tea vendor profiles, some of the tastings that we've done, like 72 of them. What could they do?
Yeah, so they should come check us out over at TeaDB.org. We've released a lot of articles, a lot of videos. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe to our weekly videos. Also, check out Cheap Agency. Check out Taobao. There's a lot of agencies out there that might seem slightly sketchy, but they are actually somewhat reliable as far as getting you tea. And as you can see, I mean, this tea cake saved me $100 by just going straight to Taobao. So
Yeah.
you will definitely run into your duds if you do that way, but there are some gems to be found as well.
Do your research, be informed, but go out there and get some good tea.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers, guys.